Hey everyone. So I wanted to make a quick video about the chakras, about the work of Nikola Tesla, and why I believe meditation is a benefit to literally every single person who participates, even if they don't understand or know why it helps. It does help. But I just wanted to break it down for all of those people who are kind of new to spirit and the idea that there is thought before action. So, one of the concepts I wanted to break down real quickly is if you look in the universe, there is a flipping, spinning action that's happening with all bodies of light. So, you get a flip on this vertical axis, which we call north and south, and you get another flip and a spin on this east-west axis. So in the universe, it creates bodies like the galaxy, but essentially what you're seeing is recursive compression or a fractal. So fractals create different geometries that are similar, where every dimension is seeded from the previous dimension. So this is like a pure fractal, which is, of course, phi. So if you look at two perfectly overlapping circles, they create this little eye in the center, and then that creates the perfect ratio for two smaller circles, two smaller circles, two smaller circles, forever into infinity. That's the point of a fractal. So when you look at the blackness that the black hole sun is creating, which is essentially its electromagnetic field, it's really, really, really tiny vortices. So these small, tiny, itty-bitty, microscopic circles, which are appearing and disappearing trillions of times a second, have a north or a south orientation. So if you look at it spinning this way, then this way, so it actually creates linear propagation, even in the absence of any material body. There is still a vibration which is traveling along the electromagnetic field lines created by the black hole sun and its environment. So the idea is also translatable to the human body. So you have a singularity right there, that little tiny point at the center, and that creates recursive expansion or compression, depending on which way you're looking at it. And that's the foundation of your chakra system. So that very small, teeny tiny dot, that would represent at the center of your heart, where you have blood in your heart chamber that is spinning around itself, forming a vortex. So that vortex motion that's in your heart is at the center of all of these waves. So if you look at this flat line that's right in the middle of all of these little chakra waves that I've made up here on this piece of paper, you would notice that it is not waving, which is to say it is moving at perfect speed, which is the idea of a singularity. So the purpose of meditation is to associate with the observer, which is the imaginative field that your heart creates. So there is an experiencer, which is to say the field of energy that's around you is absorbing from the environment. So these fields of energy, of course, get broken down. So what you're experiencing in the body, like with your root chakra, is the physical body, so its integrity and health and the sense of safety. If you're looking at the next largest chakra, like this right here would be the root chakra, it's the largest. This down here would be the sacral chakra, it's even a little bit smaller. And then you can see solar plexus, heart, which has the vortex center, as well as capillaries. So it has the smallest, one of the larger, and one of the smaller. Then you have your throat chakra, third eye, crown, and source. So the closer that you get to source, the more even it is, harmonious it is, balanced it is. Because as you can see, the root chakra is traveling very far from source, whereas the crown chakra is never very far from source, flat line at all. So the idea in a state of meditation is that you create harmony within space. That is source energy. So by experiencing belonging and acceptance, which is something that we are embodying every day, all day, by experiencing the imagination and the intuition, not as yourself, but as something that you're experiencing the word tracks that go through your head, not as yourself, but as something that your self is listening to. So the idea of meditation is not to think of nothing. It's the idea to think of yourself, that which is experiencing everything, as formless, as silence, as an observer. Because when you can observe these energies, you can tell when they're in balance or when they're out of balance, or how close they are to stillness, calm. So the more time that you spend in stillness and calm, the greater your connection to source energy, which is, again, harmony of space. So harmonized space, perfectly harmonized space, is neither north nor south. It's perfectly in the middle, which of course is physically unattainable because all physical bodies exist in resonance. And the most physical bodies create the greatest degree of separation from source. So the more physically rooted you are, the more strongly you feel separated from source. And the more spiritually rooted you are, the closer you feel to source. But the idea is not to be overly spiritual or overly physical. It's to bring these two seemingly opposing views back into coherence with source energy, which is to say the observer, which is yourself. And so when I've always said that your heart is the central observer of all frequencies because it's generating them. So your cardiovascular system is being powered by your heart. And at the center of your heart is the point in space that is being influenced by all of these vibrations, but not actually any of them. So when you sit in meditation, it gives you the ability to listen to your imagination and intuition and observe it independently of feeling as if you are what you imagine. You can look at your sense of belonging or your sense of isolation and observe it as something that you are able to have just that small amount of separation from, of knowing that you are not alone, you're simply experiencing isolation. And that as the source energy, you are sympathetically connected to all greater bodies and all smaller bodies. All vibrations of frequency are related to this source frequency, this baseline, which determines the flipping point between north and south. So as we move through space, we have the ability to harmonize it. And that is the purpose of meditation. When Nikola Tesla was originally looking at the chakra systems of the body, he was looking at the cardiovascular system, and he broke it down into a number of components. He had a top load, which was the brain. He had a frequency generator, which was the heart. He had a transformer, which is the lungs. He had a capacitor, which is the blood. And he had secondary coils, which would be the chakras. So in your body, you have your primary, which would be the root chakra, and you have your secondary, which is your spine, which carries all of these frequencies. every single nerve ending in your entire body goes through your spine, and your spine resonates with every single vibrational frequency which is present in your body. So as you sit in meditation, what you're actually doing is you're allowing your body to come back into a state of coherence with the universe so that your vibration is in harmony with itself. And as soon as it's in harmony with itself, it's in harmony with the universe, because yourself is the universe. Your true self is the universe. It's not what you imagine. It's not what you feel like you are or are not. It's not what you say to yourself. It's not your sense of determination. It's not your sense of will. It's not your sense of creativity. It's not your physical body. All of those things are simply manifestations that take place from source energy, because all of the energy is funneling its way into your body. It goes into the solar system, into the galaxy, into the universe, into the galaxy, into the solar system, into the planet, into your body, into your cells, into your DNA, and into the atoms, the tiny little singularities inside of your body. So energy is always flowing inward into you, which is creating these waves and patterns, which you are experiencing emotionally, because these different waves, which are veins, react to the fight or flight response. So when you sit in a state of meditation, you're allowing them to relax to their natural diameters and their natural state of harmony, where one chakra reinforces the next and the next and the next, because of the fact that they're all aligned, electromagnetically speaking, because of the fact that you are a body of light. So the idea of what Nikola Tesla was trying to share was that everything in the universe is electricity. It's electromagnetism. It's a dielectric, a north and a south of inverted charge, which oscillate to create motion and nest to create interdimensional patterns. Patterns within patterns within patterns. A fractal. So the whole idea of learning that is so that you can be a part of the fractal and not actually feel like you're an alien living in creation. You're a part of creation that is self-creating and can also be self-harmonizing. So the idea of meditation is to bring yourself back into a state of harmony and actually feel your best, see your best with a state of clarity. Because if you need to observe, the more still you are, the more you are capable of observing. And that's just a fact of physics. So, food for thought. If you're on the meditative track, keep it up. It's going to realign your neural pathways in your brain according to the cymatic laws of harmonics, which is to say harmony. It's going to bring your emotions into a state of alignment with your highest self, which is to say kindness, compassion, generosity. The energy that binds your own cells together is then able to extend past the physical permeable barrier of your body to bind others to you as well. And I think that's the whole point. You can develop the best connections when you are in the highest state of harmony. You have the most stable, you have the most integrity in your actions. And when you're able to be acting with integrity, when you're able to be counted upon, in other words, to be stable, that's when people have the opportunity to truly interact interdependently rather than dependently or isolated in a state of independence. So, food for thought, keep meditating. It's awesome. It's part of my daily practice as well as yoga, because that's also good for just aligning the cardiovascular system and getting the heart back into its highest state of health. So that's what I want to share with you, just some health tips, why meditation is so important to me, why I do that as well as yoga, and it's all to get all those veins running throughout the body into a higher state of harmony and alignment. I hope you do too. Have a good day.